going to mix the colors for a new painting that I call Vermont Pigs. This was in a demonstration farm in Vermont called the Billings Farm. And I just love the arrangement of the pigs' faces and the ears and the way the colors work. So I'm going to start with the darker color. I've got some raw umber. And I want to add a little bit of green. In the painting, I'm going to be eliminating that pig in the very top in the background, just simplifying the composition some. So I'll need some darker color back there. That's got some raw umber and I think some raw sienna. I'm going to mix quite a bit of this because I'll be using it throughout the painting just as a darker color. Not just for the straw that's in the shadow, but for the shadows of the pigs. I'll add a little bit of red to it when I do that. So this is almost just a raw umber. Add a little more of that raw sienna to it. And it has a slight greenish tint to it, so I'm going to add a little bit of olive green. When I mix colors before I start a painting, I'm just mixing the major color groups. I'm not trying to mix every color that you see, because that's easier to do as we go. So now if I look at the middle values of the hay, I'm going to get more raw sienna and a little more, some of that darker color into it. I'm going to grab a little more raw sienna. Well, that's good. And then a little more raw sienna for the lighter hay colors. And I'm not going to worry about mixing the highlight colors for the hay. I can do that as I work later. But I'm going to add a little bit of white to this. Okay, so I have enough of some greens and lighter colors and some oranges really in the hay, and I'll mix those on the painting as I go. So now what is left is really just the pig colors. The shadow color of the pig on the side of this one in the front, for example, it's kind of a grayish brown. Use some raw umber to start. And I'm going to use a little bit of cobalt blue. Let me put that up there. And some white. You can see that's a little too gray. So I need to warm it up with some kind of a red or a reddish color. Instead of using one of these reds, which are very powerful, I'm just going to use some of the burnt sienna. Warm that up. Well, that looks good. What I'm doing when I say it looks good is I'm just comparing the color to the photograph by actually putting some color right on the photograph. If you're painting from a computer screen or from life, then you can just hold up your palette knife and compare it that way. So now I've got the more middle values, the somewhat lighter shadows on the pigs. I'm going to take a little bit of this, a little more white, and a little more of the burnt sienna. Maybe just a little tiny bit of this cadmium red. More of a scarlet, I think, that I'm adding here. See how powerful these reds are, and that's why you be very careful when you mix with them. Cadmium reds, whether a cadmium red light is, I think, that, or a scarlet. This deeper red is a cadmium, just a cadmium red. It takes very little. It's still a little bit light. I want to keep some of that over here and then add some white to it. And that's good. Now I've got the light color where the hair, the bristles on the pig are in the direct light. So that's just a bit of that color with some white, I think. You can notice that these aren't as red as you might think they are if you're just glancing at these pigs. A lot of that red color that we see, or all of the red color on a pig, really is the skin showing through, and then the reflections of the light. I don't want to mix up the brightest color for the bristles. I'd rather do that by using the brush with some texture and lighter color on top of this. And that's about right. Now I just need sort of that ear color, where the sun is hitting them from behind and shining through their ears. I'm going to use some of this cadmium red light. Some white in there. I think that's good. As you look at the colors within the ears, they of course get darker and there are shadows, and I'm going to be using some of these other colors mixed with that to achieve that effect. So I think we have enough paint mixed up to get started, and I'll see you in part 1.